I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow.
And so the reign of Elizabeth II comes to a close after 70 years at the age of 96.
She helped preserve the
Charles
institution of the monarchy during times of massive social change.
In 1947, on her 21st birthday, she pledged in a broadcast from Cape Town to the Commonwealth to devote her life,
whether it be long or short,
long,
shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong. But I shall not have strength to carry out this resolution alone unless you join in it with me, as I now invite you to do. God help me to make good my vow, and God bless all of you who are willing to share in it.
Not many of us remember a time without the Queen as the head of the monarchy. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II was at the helm of the kingdom for more than 70 years. Now, as the Commonwealth enters a new era with a new monarch, there is no doubt in everyone's mind that the new king is well suited to take up the crown. After all, Charles has spent his entire life waiting for it.
I think he'll be a compassionate king. I think he's somebody he's always thinking of kind of others, and he's very keen about the environment.
He cares about his country, he cares about its heritage, he cares about the planet, and he cares about the people.
The longest-serving heir apparent in British history, King Charles III has acted as the Prince of Wales for a staggering 64 years. It is a role that he came to embrace ever since his investiture, and ultimately redefine it in his own way.
Mummy.
While Charles's reign as king is overshadowed by that of his mother, his legacy as Prince of Wales is no less than historic and remains utterly memorable.
When he was Prince of Wales, he created a role for himself, and he fulfilled it extremely well.
As the role passes on to his son, the world remains on standby to see how Prince William will take on his new title and live up to his father's accomplishments. This is the legacy of the Prince of Wales. Born in 1948, King Charles III is said to have had a lonely childhood, as his parents were often too busy with their royal duties, an endless round of royal engagements, official visits, and tours across the globe.
Well, Queen Elizabeth was a very dutiful mother, and she became queen aged 25. You know, Prince Charles was, I think, he was 4, nearly, and Princess Anne was she was born in 1950, so she was only just 3 when the Queen was crowned. So basically her children were taken away from her. She just didn't have time to be with them. So she would see them in the morning, you know, for 15 minutes, and she would see them at night for half an hour. But again, you have to judge it by the mores of the time. That was how aristocratic families worked.
After finishing school, Charles decided to go against royal tradition and study at Cambridge University instead of joining the armed forces. At the age of 20, he was formally invested with the title of the Prince of Wales, signifying the launch of Charles as a more active figure of the royal family. Before his official investiture ceremony, Charles had left Cambridge University to spend a term at the University College of Wales at Aberystwyth. During his term in Wales, he spent his time learning about Welsh history and culture, as well as learning to speak the language. When the time came for his investiture, he pledged his allegiance to the Queen at Carnarvon Castle in northwest Wales and made an address to the nation in Welsh. For the most part, the ceremony was very well received by the Welsh people.
Well, I think that Charles, when he was Prince of Wales, he created a role for himself and he fulfilled it extremely well. He used to give a lot of interviews. He said, there is no role for the Prince of Wales, so I'm going to create one. And he did. And he earned the great, great respect of his parents because he was a very awkward, shambolic child, odd teenager, difficult, shy. But he had this real simpatico and warmth, and he won people over.
The monarch is head of the armed forces, and it has always been a great tradition of the royal family that each and every member should engage in active service and lead by example, playing more than just a symbolic role. The late Queen was the first female member of the royal family to serve full-time on active service as a member of the ATS during World War II. Prince Philip, too, was an active member of the Royal Navy during World War II. So for Charles, it was an important next step for him as heir to the throne and future head of the armed forces. During his time studying at Cambridge University, Charles received flying lessons from the RAF. He went on to RAF Cranwell in Lincolnshire to train as a jet pilot before pursuing a naval career, just like his father and grandfather. Charles served on the guided missile destroyer HMS Norfolk and then went on to serve on 2 frigates, the HMS Minerva from 1972 to 1973 and the HMS Jupiter in 1974. For the last 10 months of his active service in the Navy, on the 9th of February 1976, Charles took command of the coastal minehunter HMS Bronington. On the 11th of June 1977, when appointed Colonel-in-Chief of the Parachute Regiment, Charles asked to take part in the parachute training course. He felt he could not look them in the eye or wear the regiment's beret and wings badge unless he had completed the course. Charles said, "I felt I should lead from the front, or at least be able to do some of the things that one expects others to do for the country." On the 16th of June 2012, Charles was appointed the most senior ranks of Field Marshal, Admiral of the Fleet, and Marshal of the RAF in the 3 UK armed services. Since leaving the armed forces, Charles very carefully carved out his role as heir apparent, and it is clear he had not just been waiting for his next job. In the fiscal year 2021 to 22 alone, he undertook over 350 engagements. He has been one of the most visible members of the royal family, having had a highly accomplished diplomatic career. Charles has visited 44 Commonwealth countries, many more than once, and has visited over 100 countries worldwide. His tours have not always run smoothly, however. While visiting Australia in January 1994,
Prince Charles was about to present awards to the state's top HSC students, but before he could utter a word, chaos.
Two shots from a starting pistol were fired at him on Australia Day by David Kang, in protest of the treatment of several hundred Cambodian asylum seekers held in detention camps.
He may have grown up in a palace, but today Prince Charles was doing his best to get in touch with the mood on the streets.
In 1976, Charles founded the Prince's Trust, a charitable organisation to help vulnerable young people. Originally started using funds from his own Royal Navy severance pay, amounting to just over £7,000, the charity has gone on to help over 1 million people. It remains one of the biggest successes of Charles's career as Prince of Wales. The charity helps those aged between 11 and 30 with issues such as homelessness, mental health problems, or trouble with the law. It has reached the far corners of the globe, helping over 1 million young people.
And as long as I've got a few marbles left remaining, I should do my best to go on investing in the future of this remarkable country. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I think what some people don't realise is that when the Prince of Wales becomes the king, his title, Prince of Wales, becomes dormant. It doesn't automatically get passed on to anyone. You know, it becomes a dormant title. So, therefore, everything that he's built and worked on over those decades, suddenly it doesn't stop because he has put a lot of it into like charities and things, but it doesn't then have him as its figurehead. So it's really difficult that will then, it will continue, but it will change, and that's why the Prince's Foundation, that is something that will continue, and obviously that's developing and growing. So I think that's what's really important, is that, you know, he's thought this out to ensure that the things that he is passionate and worries about and cares about can still continue in its previous role, but at the same time, as a future king, he'll still be able to probably more so give it support, but as king, he's got so many other things he's going to have to take on, so it's going to be very difficult.
The king has dedicated himself to protecting our environment, just like his father, Prince Philip, who raised unparalleled awareness about climate change in his time.
Totally useless for a lot of well-meaning people to wring their hands in conference and to point out the dangers of pollution or destruction of the countryside if no one is willing or capable of taking any action. It'll be a waste
Charles
of
first
time
spoke
and
publicly about his concerns about the current environmental situation in terms of pollution and use of plastics in 1970, and had frequently been ridiculed for his opinions and interests, which he is now praised for and believed to have been forward-thinking. The Queen herself has acknowledged the great impact of the work carried out by Charles, along with Prince Philip and Prince William, in environmental causes and climate change.
It is a source of great pride to me that the leading role my husband played in encouraging people to protect our fragile planet lives on through the work of our eldest son, Charles, and his eldest son, William. I could not be more proud of them.
Organic farming is a great passion of the King's. As a farmer himself, he cares deeply about the agricultural community. As the Duke of Cornwall, he manages the Duchy of Cornwall and has founded the Duchy Originals brand to show there is a market for organic and sustainably produced food. This brand operates separately from the Duchy of Cornwall, and all profits are used in the Prince of Wales's charitable fund. Famously, one of the King's interests has always been in architecture, and he has not been shy to share his feelings on the matter. One of his more ambitious projects was Poundbury, an urban extension on the historic town of Dorchester, designed and built by Charles and his team of architects. Importantly, within this experimental town, Charles wanted to keep traditional local character in the buildings and integrate affordable housing. He also wanted it to be a walkable community in the hopes of reducing pollution. Work began in October 1993 and is due to be completed in 2026. But already a large community is living and working in Poundbury and has been recognised as a success. The King regularly visits Poundbury, attending openings and getting to know the locals as the community has begun to build and the local economy has started to grow. King Charles had a close relationship with his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. So it came as no surprise when he wanted to name the main focal point of the town Queen Mother Square, which the Queen came to open, and she unveiled a statue of the late Queen Mother. During his role as the Prince of Wales, he took his responsibilities towards the constituent country very seriously. The King and Queen Consort Camilla visit Wales every summer for a busy week packed full of engagements, often linked to his charities. Charles has been dedicated to advocating for Welsh issues, and the Prince's Trust has helped many struggling, disadvantaged Welsh youths. Charles's work as Prince of Wales has prepared him for the role of king and head of the royal family, and it is now Prince William's turn to undertake the distinguished role, but it won't be easy. Prince William not only has to keep up the tradition of duty and hard work that the royal family has always embodied, but also prepare for his destiny to inherit the crown and become king. While William seems to have settled into his role as senior member of the royal family, does he have what it takes to live up to the legacy of a Duchy original?
Crowds gathered outside Buckingham Palace throughout the evening. At St Mary's, Paddington, their euphoria overflowed into song. They roared their congratulations.
I'm obviously relieved and delighted. It's marvellous. It's rather a grown-up thing, I find. Rather a shock to my sister.
What's the baby like?
He's in marvellous form.
Does the baby have any hair?
He looks marvellous.
Born to King Charles II and the late Diana in 1982, Prince William has spent his entire life in the spotlight, surrounded by tabloids. The prince was just 15 years old, and his brother Harry only 12, when their mother Diana was tragically killed in a car accident in Paris while being pursued by the paparazzi. It is clear from the way 15-year-old William conducted himself during his mother's funeral that this young man had developed a strong character. Both William and Harry were reluctant to walk behind her coffin, but Prince Philip felt it was important they did and accompanied them all the way. There was worldwide sympathy for the two brothers, as their grief was played out so publicly in the media spotlight.
Clapping. Yes, we can see them in the background too. There is applause. And it's a strange occasion, isn't it? But it's applause that says, we know how difficult this is for you. Well done.
Charles.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we just got a
William. William.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
As a result of Princess Diana's tragic death, the British tabloids made the decision to respect William and Harry's complete privacy during their further education allowing them as near a normal life as possible during that vital part of their lives. This decision helped William and Kate's relationship blossom naturally throughout their university days, away from the eye of the media.
William loved St Andrews. St Andrews is a beautiful place. It's on the east coast of Scotland. It is quite a long way from anywhere. There's no train service to St Andrews. It's wild and it's beautiful. And thanks to a new code of conduct that was drawn up by the Press Complaints Commission after Diana died, under the new code, children of famous people were allowed to enjoy their education free of harassment from the press. He intended to study history of art. After his first year, he decided that actually geography was of greater interest, and so he shifted the focus to geography. During the history of art lectures, he bumped into Kate Middleton, who was also studying history of art, also in her first year. And the two of them became friends. And when they moved out of halls of residences in the second year, they shared a flat together with other people. And because the press were not intrusive and not there, and because everybody around them treated him like a normal person, like a normal student, they were able to get together and explore, whether this was something that was real or not.
Kate Middleton's relationship with Prince William was first revealed to the British public when William decided to take her on a family skiing trip to Klosters in Switzerland, a favourite haunt of his father's for skiing holidays. William and Kate both graduated in 2005, with William achieving a Scottish Master of Arts degree with upper second-class honours. The news made the front pages around the world.
And what about the prospect of this as a career for you?
There's been a lot of speculation about what career I'm going to take, but I haven't actually made any serious plans yet. But I haven't ruled anything out. Although a career in the armed services would be the best thing at the moment, because it'd be lovely to recognise all the hard work that the armed forces are doing in the present climate.
As is tradition, Prince William studied to become an army officer after his graduation from the University of St Andrews. After passing the selection process, Prince William took his place at Sandhurst, the Royal Military Academy, from which thousands of successful army careers have been launched. The 44-week training course is grueling, and it's reported that William found enormous strength during this period and made friends who remain close and loyal to this day. Graduating with the rank of Lieutenant Wales, William followed his younger brother into the Blues and Royals as a troop commander. Both William and Harry hoped to take part in active service, but Harry's deployment in 2007 was cancelled due to very specific threats, casting doubt that William would ever be able to be deployed on active service.
Yeah, Mark.
That's perfect.
Perfect, no worries. Cool.
Thank you. Sir, can I just ask you, how's life in the RAF?
Very good. Enjoying it very much.
Very different from the army?
In certain ways, yeah. Otherwise, it's still the same sort of.
Prince William moved to the Royal Air Force, and in 2008, he completed a 12-week intensive flying training course at RAF College, Cranwell. Once again, proud parents were able to play an active role on graduation day, with King Charles pinning on William's wings on his successful completion of the flying course. serving in both the Army and the Royal Air Force, William was then seconded to train with the Navy, spending 3 weeks at the Britannia Royal Navy College in Dartmouth. During deployment on HMS Iron Duke in the Caribbean, Prince William took an active role in an operation that caught and seized a high-speed craft carrying almost a ton of cocaine, worth about £40 million. William extended his Royal Naval Short Service Commission for as long as possible, and it's reported that he greatly enjoyed his time in the senior service. But he was called back to the Royal Air Force and promoted to Flight Lieutenant, taking up training to become a helicopter pilot in the RAF Search and Rescue Service. The training is demanding and includes advanced handling, night flying, emergency handling and tactical and formation flying on the Griffin HT-1 helicopter. Flight Lieutenant Wales graduated in January 2010 from the Defence Helicopter Flying School at RAF Shawbury.
What a fabulous day to be here in London. The entire world is watching. Something like 2 billion people watch this on television, on the internet, more than any other event, forget royal event, any event in history, tuned in to watch William and Kate get married today and that very famous balcony kiss.
On the 29th of April 2011, Prince William and Kate Middleton married in Westminster Abbey. It was a cause for big celebration. Crowds gathered from far away to take part in the day. After all, Kate would one day become Queen.
The night before the wedding, William and Harry did a rather wonderful thing. They went out into the road outside the streets around Clarence House and just anonymously, unannounced, and spoke to the public and said, you know, thank you so much for supporting us, for, you know, are you warm enough, are you, because people were camping out, ready to catch a glimpse of them. And, you know, the security people were saying, you can't possibly do that, can't possibly do that. And they said, no, 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 we're going to. They were on a complete high.
Well, it's curious, isn't it, to wonder what Diana would make of Kate. I suspect that she would absolutely adore her. I think she would adore her because Kate has made William so happy.
She'd be absolutely thrilled about William and the way he's shaped his life. And of course I think she would just love Catherine.
I think William and Kate, over the years, have had a very healthy relationship. I think Kate, you know, feels William's jolly lucky to have her. It's not all the other way around, that she's married her prince. You know, so I think it's a marriage of equals.
After the birth of his first child, Prince George, in July 2013, William took the decision to retire from active service in the Royal Air Force in September 2013. During his time at RAF Valley, Prince William undertook 156 search and rescue missions, where 149 people were rescued. Whilst in the Royal Air Force, he completed over 1,300 flying hours. Retirement from active service did not deter the future king from looking to the skies to fulfill his career ambitions and to continue the spirit of service to others. In 2014, it was announced that William would accept full-time employment as a pilot with the East Anglian Air Ambulance based at Cambridge Airport. For the next 2 years, this would be Prince William's work, on the front line as an emergency worker, sometimes witnessing intensive trauma, and with a real hands-on approach to helping his medically qualified colleagues.
Prince William has got such a solid kind of grounding, really, in the eyes of the press. I think the press and the public really admire him. They think he's very grown up. He had to grow up very quickly, particularly after the death of his mother. He's definitely the mature one between him and his brother, Prince Harry. And I just think there's a great deal of admiration and respect for him, yet people feel that there's a connection with him. It's not like he's one of those members of the royal family who seems so distant from the public and so far removed. He genuinely seems like he really cares about the public.
In 2017, Prince William decided to move closer to home and take up a full-time role fulfilling duties on behalf of Queen Elizabeth II.
Kate, I think, has been very clever in her marriage to William. She very much, she doesn't play second fiddle, but because it is, I believe, a marriage of equals, but she supports him. She is not out there to outshine him in any way. And one of the great problems with Charles and Diana's marriage was that Diana became a superstar and she loved it and she relished it and used it. And as the marriage disintegrated, she used her power over Charles, who was sort of in the shadows a bit and overshadowed by her. And that caused huge problems. Kate has been much, I think it has played a much better hand, really. But she was older, you know, the fame didn't shoot to her head, and she had a family who kept her grounded, which Diana never had. And so she has been very happy to promote William and to, you know, she has her own charity, she has her own interests, but she's never been on an ego trip. And I don't think she's ever let the stardom go to her head. She's very like, in a funny way, the Duke of Edinburgh was to the Queen. He did his own thing, he supported her always, was always there, but never took the limelight away from her.
Prince William only had to fall in love once, and he did. Unfortunately, it was with her. And that means that they've got a fantastically good foundation upon which to build. If there is one word which sums up their relationship, I think it's one of respect. Of course, love is there, it's got to be there, but without respect, it won't work.
The Prince of Wales, William, now has 3 children, and the country has been pleased to see more of the young princes, George and Louis, as well as Princess Charlotte, at royal events. Prince William continues in his duty as a monarch in training, at the same time as dedicating himself to the vital service of the Crown. He has served a vital role on numerous occasions, supporting Her Majesty the Queen, but also focusing on areas of working life which obviously mean a great deal to him. He is currently patron or president of many organisations, remaining particularly interested in conservation, young people, the armed forces, homelessness, emergency responders, and mental health.
Both of them have chosen patronages which have reflected their mother's work. Say, for instance, Prince William with Centrepoint, the homelessness charity, which is both of his parents were involved in, and the Royal Marsden, which his mother was patron of, for instance, cancer charity for children. Equally, you've had Harry going out to Africa, helping AIDS orphans in Lesotho. Obviously, his mother was synonymous with AIDS. And indeed, I think we see through Harry Diana's common touch, his ability to just relate to people to a level, which is what's made him so popular.
I think the vision of mine and Prince Asos from the word go is always going to be based around our mothers. I mean, that's a fact. I feel as I'm a stuck record every time that I get asked a question. It's always the same answer. But I think it's the same for. I think it's definitely the same for both of us. But I'm sure it's the same for a lot of people. You sort of you learn and you pride yourselves on your parents. And I've always hoped that I would always make my mother and father proud. And obviously my mother's not around, so yeah, I'd like to think that that she'd be proud of what both William and I do, not only in Africa but back home as well.
His interest in the environment, following in the footsteps of his father, King Charles, and his grandfather, Prince Philip, remains an incredibly important focus for William. In 2020, the Prince launched the Earthshot Prize to discover and award solutions to repair and regenerate the planet every year until 2030. His focus to tackle homelessness in Britain, as inspired by the efforts of his mother Diana, have been at the heart of his charity work, as he remains the patron of many charity organisations and programmes that work to support the homeless and at-risk youth.
He has been connected with the charity Centrepoint ever since his mother was patron of that charity. When he was a little boy, she used to take him out to see the homeless on the streets of London to show how the other side of life was. It's not just about palaces and privilege, it was about paupers and people that were in dire straits. And I think that's something that's been embedded in his mind ever since. He's somebody, I think, that cares deeply about issues, but the homeless is one that he's actively involved with. He's also very keen in trying to help young people that are on drugs and are trying to get through that problem. And he does lend a lot of support to that. And in fact, it's my understanding he's not only doing the stuff where he helps himself, he actually does put his money where his mouth is, and through his foundation, he has contributed quite a lot of money to assisting people in this regard.
As Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine already hold strong connections to Wales, especially after William's work as a Royal Air Force search and rescue pilot on the island of Anglesey. The Prince has made many official visits around the UK, meeting a broad range of people who make a difference to their community. With Kate at his side, he has also carried out overseas tours on behalf of the Queen to the Commonwealth and beyond.
Modernisation is a very hard word to use in the context of the royal family, because the royal family is built on history and tradition and protocol, but actually in William and Kate, you see a future king and queen who are driving it forward and taking it on to the next step.
Well, I think that William is already fulfilling his role as Prince of Wales. I mean, he's lived in Wales, he lived in Anglesey, he's worked there, he has, I think he's done so much in such a short time, and he has such respect from people that I don't think people will compare him to his father. I think his father's position of Prince of Wales was unique, and William's position of Prince of Wales is very much William and Catherine together. Whereas when Charles was Prince of Wales, it was the Prince of Wales and the Princess, oh, she's somewhere else, the Princess of Wales. But they are very much a unit, so it's a different sort of force, if you like.
The couple's stability and dedication to service has caused them to be likened to Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip.
One of the secrets of the success of their marriage is that they do seem much more equal than, say, for instance, Charles and Diana. Had a situation when they got married where Diana eclipsed her husband, and he often grumpily complained that, you know, people on the wrong side of the road who would groan if they got Charles on a walkabout and not Diana. He used to say, oh, sorry, it's not my wife, and have to apologise. People are actually genuinely interested in meeting William because he looks so much like his mother, and he is this key senior player and young and fun and quite dynamic. I think as well, Kate has been very careful not to upstage her husband. I think that she's the yin to his yang in that he, although a level-headed, down-the-line kind of guy, can be prone to a few temper tantrums, perhaps, and likes to dig his heels in and knows his own mind. And I think can sometimes get quite angry. One gets the impression that Kate's the one sort of pulling him back and reining him in and saying, all right, let's just keep calm.
Like his father, the King, Prince William has undertaken a very modern approach to his royal duties of representing the monarchy, including being part of a few podcasts and celebrity interviews. On the 8th of September 2022, Queen Elizabeth II passed away at her home in Balmoral after a reign of 70 years. Her death left the royal family devastated, but the royal family continued on in the face of grief after a period of mourning. In his first speech to the nation, King Charles confirmed that his son William will be taking on the title of Prince of Wales and succeeding to be the first in line for succession.
So much to me. He succeeds me as Duke of Cornwall and takes on the responsibilities for the Duchy of Cornwall, which I have undertaken for more than 5 decades.
Before his ascension to the throne, Charles was the longest-serving heir apparent in British history. But that will not be the case for William, which means the prince has to be ready to take on the role of future king. His new role as Prince of Wales will show the world whether he is ready to become the monarch and live up to the legacy left behind by his late grandmother, the Queen, as well as his father, the King. As he takes on more royal responsibilities, Prince William is laying down his foundation as future king and focusing on issues that matter to him the most. A kind, forward-thinking and charitable figure, Prince William has shown that while he will continue his father's legacy as Prince of Wales, he will do it in his own way.